Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast, the podcast for real estate agents absolutely everywhere. I'm Lisa B, and during this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything real estate. What's working, what's not working, AI, automation, technology, eXp Realty, and absolutely everything to do with real estate. I'll have guest speakers as well, where we'll answer your questions from the Facebook group, Let's Talk About Real Estate. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, make sure you do that now, and we'd be happy to help answering any question. And again, welcome to the show. Welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. And today, my very special guest is Hank Avink. Hank is a big deal in eXp Realty with about 1,000 real estate agents. Yes, you are. And I'll explain what that means later, having 1,000 real estate agents in his team. Hank helped me a lot over 5 years ago when we first started in eXp in Australia, with hindsight from, everything that happened in America to what we were going through here, which was amazing. Hank is a coach, real estate coach, and all-round legend. Today I want Hank. Hank is very much, the things that I love about you, Hank, is that you're brutally honest. Like if I said to you, do I look fat in this? You'd go, yeah, probably. Yeah. And I like that because that's the way I am. I like people that are honest. I don't want anything sugar coated. And I've seen you're like that with me. I see you like that with other people. And that's what I really like. I like it that I know if I want an answer to something, you're not going to beat around the bush. And I think that's what makes a good coach as well. You're not just pandering to somebody else and, oh, that's okay. Try again next week. It's like, why haven't you done it? That's what I love about you. So welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast, Hank.
Well, thank you for having me. And I always wish I could wrap that up and put it on my mom's refrigerator because she'd be so proud. So thank you for that warm introduction. Yeah, fierce conversations. I'm not sure where that switch actually flipped with me. Or actually, I do. My son was born, we found out that he had to have open heart surgery, and I went from working 18 hours a day to being a people pleaser to being, I've got 3 hours a day to work. So I just lost my filter. And I'd be like, hey, Lisa, if you're a looky-loo, I can't work with you right now. If you're going to buy a home, let's go.
Yeah.
And I just lost my filter because I no longer had the luxury of tiptoeing around things. And surprisingly, I was getting done in 3 hours what I used to take 18 hours to get done. And I was getting better results because people loved it. They loved the fact that I was just upfront and forthright. And oftentimes it comes from pain where we start losing that filter. And it's made a huge difference in my world.
But people respect your time more too. It's like, no, I've only got 1 hour. They're not going to be, they're going to make the best of that 1 hour. They haven't got 3 hours with you. So, I think it gives you more respect too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think what happens is people get into destructive abundance, and when they have more deals coming in than what they can handle, rather than raising their standards, what they do is they try to dilute it and try to do more, and then they get crappier results. And it actually works in the opposite effect because we all know those agents that start out, they start killing it, and then all of a sudden they end up having a business that goes up and down. And it's because of that destructive abundance, and they don't raise their standards. And we all know that girl in school that didn't have high standards. And I talked about that with you before we got on the podcast was, hey, is this PG-13 or do we have an adult podcast going?
You go for your life, Hank. It's whatever you want it to be.
Well, and there's an example because right there, that got people off neutral. They were either like, oh, this guy's funny, or this mate's funny, as you guys say down under, or this guy's inappropriate. And that's intentional because I want to find filters where when people are judging me, they can either move towards me and be like, I like this guy, or he's not my type. He's loose with the lips. He cusses a little bit. He can get a little bit out of the coloring lines. And to me, that what's helped with that is it helps people filter through on whether or not they want to be in a relationship with me.
Absolutely. So you're known for your Hankisms, aren't you? People are.
Yeah.
What are some of them that you can think of?
Well, sometimes I just have to look at my tattoos. And if you're listening to this, on my forearm, it says math versus drama. And where that comes from is so many times people would come to me and they'd be talking about whatever's going on. And I said, okay, well, Lisa, before we talk about the drama, let's talk about the math. Have you been doing enough calls to actually give yourself an opportunity to have a different result? Have you gone to the gym for the last year to expect that your body would be able to transform. And most people, they get stuck in the drama and their math doesn't give them a chance to actually succeed. Subtraction leads to multiplication. Another tattoo that I have on me. Patience with a sense of urgency. All these Hankisms are a different way of saying something that the people that came before us, like a Zig Ziglar or all the legends, and I just say them a little bit different way.
Yeah. So tell us, patience with a sense of urgency. Tell us what that means to you.
So most of us are lacking one or the other. For me, ADHD, driver, I've lacked patience almost my whole life. I'm the definition of trying to out earn stupid. I'll just work. And what I found was oftentimes I needed some patience. My wife and I, when we were trying to get pregnant, it was like, we want to get pregnant and have the baby, but it needed 9 months of gestation. And you don't want that baby coming sooner. And some things just need a little bit of time. And so I would like anybody watching this, do a self-assessment. Do you lack patience or do you lack urgency? And having awareness around what you're lacking, because patience to me was the magic sauce. And eXp is a good example. I came to eXp for freedom. I didn't come for another job. And the reality was I needed 3 to 5 hours a week consistently, not 40 hours a week for intensity, and do it for 3 months, because eXp wasn't going to work if I gave it just 3 months. It took me 8 or 19 months to have my first victory. But because I was patient with a sense of urgency, 19 months in, I got my first victory. But most people would have given up because they're so impatient and they need that immediate feedback loop.
Absolutely. And back and on your wall there, you've got be brave. And what's that? You'll get over it. Yeah. Be brave. Don't we have to be brave though? Like, in life, it's like putting yourself out there. There's so many things where, we can just ignore things and it just gets worse and worse and worse. You do have to be brave to tackle things. Otherwise, whatever you haven't tackled gets worse. Everything else gets worse. And, being brave is just such a thing where it's, you just have to, so how do you get somebody to do something that's difficult? So you're coaching someone and they have to be brave. How do you get them to do that? Like, I need to do something and I'm not doing it. How would you try and influence me or see that I need to do it?
So funny that you bring this up. The title of my new book coming out is called Fix It. And so a lot of times we got to have people be brave enough to actually look at what's going on and not to pretend to not know what they know. My wife and I, for the last 2 hours, have been texting back and forth. And I had to be brave and share some things that were going on, knowing that it was going to be a comfortable conversation. It wasn't going to be one that, was going to be awesome. Yet the reality is the alternative is not bringing it up and then having it fester and having it grow and causing something bigger. And so in the book, what we're going to talk about is fix it. And right here, this tattoo says fix it, because I tell people you got to be strong, or to use your words, be brave. So first thing is we got to properly diagnose what's going on. And 9 times out of 10, what I find with people, they're actually treating the symptom, not the actual diagnosis or the problem. And the example that I use is the guy that's 50 pounds overweight. And the easy thing would be to say, hey, man, you need to go work out. Okay, well, why is he really overweight? Well, he started drinking. And when he started drinking, he started eating more. Well, why'd you start drinking? Well, my wife's a nag. Well, why is your wife a nag? And you go down, and it's actually 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers deeper.
Yeah.
And the 50 pounds overweight is just a symptom. And so usually what I find is if I can help people properly diagnose what's actually going on, it's usually pretty easy to fix if you're being honest with yourself. And one of my Hankisms is awareness is transformational in and of itself. So if we can help people be brave and actually figure out what's really going on, the awareness, typically once they get awareness, they'll know the next right thing to do.
Absolutely. And I know there was an agent that you were coaching, and he quite often puts on Facebook, he'll say how you were brutally honest with him and he lost weight and changed his life forever. I can't remember who that was.
Josh, he was a buddy, and he came on a Zoom, and a buddy close enough, but I saw him and he looked awful. I said, dude, you look fat as fuck. And I mean, this is how I would say it to him. I wouldn't just
Yeah.
go say, Lisa, there's no way in the world I would ever say
No,
that to you that way.
no.
But it's what he needed was for somebody just to call it out. Now, if you would have said, "Hey, dude, you know, I got an issue with my what's the
Thyroid.
thyroid.
Yeah.
Thanks. I would have felt awful, but he goes, I mean, he was mad. But guess what? It'll That's what he needed. And the guy looks like a beast now because everybody else was talking behind his back, and I cared enough to just punch him right in the face. Now, he wanted to punch me in the face, but he couldn't because he had let himself go. And his marriage and everything has transformed since then.
Wow.
And so another Hankism is this. I care more about you than I do us. I mean, I think about our last phone call. I was giving you advice that wasn't necessarily best for me, but it was best for Lisa because I care enough about you. Where if
Yeah.
I put you and yourself first, our relationship will grow and be better together if I have my priorities in the right order.
Absolutely. And he's the guy that says, yeah, buddy, isn't he?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
buddy. Yeah. No, he
And
said,
there's an example of branding, right? I cuss a little bit. I wear hoodies. I wear my hat backwards. And
yeah.
he says, yeah, buddy. So here's Lisa in Australia, who's never had a conversation with him, knows who Josh is.
Yeah, that's right. From that.
And a quick little tidbit on Josh, he has the success code, which is this
Mhm.
skill set, time on task, experimentation until you get a victory and you get confidence until you get to momentum. There's more to it, but that's a quick drive-by. He has this tattooed on his body right here because
Oh,
of how big an impact this little modality that Hank put together is.
wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Isn't that
Okay.
crazy?
It is crazy. It is crazy. And I love how you've got all of those tatties around just to remind you, and whenever you're talking to people, you're reinforcing those anchors on yourself, aren't you? It's so like every time
Yeah.
you talk about it, it's there.
And where that came from was I was saying the same things over and over again. And one day I knew I was going to be having this conversation. So I jokingly wrote it on in Sharpie, is
Yeah.
what we call it here.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, you should get that tattooed. And I thought, if I can tattoo my principles on my body, people should hopefully give me the benefit of the doubt that like they're like gravity.
Yes,
They work.
absolutely. And look how committed you are to EXP.
Yes. You
He's got
know,
an EXP tattoo.
this
That
is,
commitment.
would you like to know the quick story behind that?
Yes.
When I first joined, there was a lady that had an EXP tattoo, and I'm thinking, you're crazy. It's like the Harley Davidson stuff. And I go, what made you do that? She goes, when I made $1 million in revenue share, I said that I would do it. Well, I'm like just thinking. I was like, well, when I make $1 million, I'm going to do it. Like thinking, there's no way I'll ever do it. Well, what happened was I crossed the $1 million, and then I crossed the $2 million in revenue share, and somebody called me out. They're like, dude, you said you were getting the tattoo when you made $1 million. So one day I'm flying into Tampa with another guy. It was Sunday night at midnight. I go, hey man, is there a tattoo parlor open? He goes, you won't believe it. Someone just joined eXp that runs a tattoo shop. Let's go. So 12 o'clock in the morning in Tampa, Florida, Rob and I are getting this, Rob Tuff. We both got the tattoo eXp. And I mean, I've made $2.8 million in revenue share working 3 to 5 hours a week in this model. I mean, it just gives me goosebumps.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. Okay. When I get a
Now,
million,
but Lisa, real quick, you can't do it. You want to know why you can't do it? Because I'm
why?
much better. You want to know else why? Because I'm way smarter than you. I'm stronger than you. And this is what I share with people. Like, here's the great thing about EXP is you got to be willing to commit. You got to be willing to be consistent, and you just got to do the work. There's nothing special about me. I'm not that good looking. I couldn't even get into university, and
Yeah.
and like I'm going bald. So like if I can do it, anybody can do it, and you need some luck along the way.
Yeah, that's right. And it's real estate's the same thing. You just need to do the actions, don't you? The actions that are going to lead to
Yep.
the results. Absolutely. All right. So can we get into a little bit of coaching for any real estate agents that are watching this now? So a brand new agent coming into real estate, what advice would you give them? And I'm talking about not, going your sphere of influence and all that mentally. So I want to talk about mindset. So what do you think the mindset for somebody coming into real estate new should be?
believe in yourself. So Zig Ziglar came to us with be do have. First, you have to be it before you can do it, before you can have it. Meaning, you have to believe that you can be a successful real estate agent. Now, the nice thing about YouTube is information's a commodity. So go and find somebody that you can relate to, and they're not so far along in the journey that you can't relate, but find somebody that can be a guidepost. So this is where the success code comes in. You got to work on skill set. The first listing that I put in took me 3 days because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't get the right forms. I had to go back and get new signatures. But once I had that skill set, what took me 3 days now takes me 30 minutes driving down the highway putting lipstick on. And I don't wear lipstick, but the point is some of you can relate that you do it like second.
Yeah.
So the first thing is have the mindset that you're going to outwork your stupidity.
Yeah.
So most likely you're going to have to work 18-hour days, because the sooner you can get that skill set, get the time on task, and you're experimenting so you get some victories, pretty soon the experimentation will be experimentations. You'll go, if I do this, then this will happen. So I'm going to tell you, work as if, the worst boss you've ever had, work to that standard. And chances are you'll be successful. The first year will be a struggle. Second year will be a little bit better. Third year, you'll start getting the payoffs of all that hard work. And here's what I want you to not do. Don't start choosing significance over sales, and then, keep spinning your wheels doing things that actually don't get you there. Because most people, what they do is they start raising their lifestyle. They start spending too much money, stop doing all the things that got them there in the first place. And then they get behind in taxes, or they get behind in bills. And then it's this constant struggle. So back to the question, if I was getting brand new in real estate, what would I do? I would work my butt off, follow people that have gone before me, and outwork your mindset.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so somebody that's in real estate struggling with results, what advice would you give them? Basically the same, isn't it? But yeah.
I would ask them, hey, let's look at your last 30 days, and would you be proud of the work that you've done? Based on the last 30 days, could you expect any different results than what you have? Lisa, I can tell you what I've done every hour on the hour during workday since 2016.
I know
It's no wonder that I have a lot of success. Now, again, that was supposed to be funny. And so what matters measures. So I have this right here, 50-25-1. Are you getting in front of 50 people a day where they're off neutral? They either like you or hate you. Get 20 handshakes. When you shake someone's hand, you get an energy exchange. Sometimes like, you're an asshole, or, oh my gosh, Lisa, I'm married and I'm not sure the energy that's going on, but I'm happily married and I can't shake your hand anymore. To have 5 conversations. And a conversation is where you're getting their information so you can follow up. You follow them on social media and you exchange something of commonality. And then the 1 is where you have such a powerful conversation that both of you can remember where you were when you had that conversation. I remember you and I had a conversation. I was in Ottawa on the river, and you had something going on. And I remember talking to you there. And what I loved about it was you didn't show up as a victim. Actually, I think you might have a little bit, and I gave you a little Hank. And then you end up getting to responsibility, because victim to anger to responsibility. And I could remember on that phone call, I was like, she's at responsibility. She's going to make this work. And go, Lisa. Now, if you would have shown up as a victim, there's no way. And I think at the time I needed to call our CEO and make something happen, or I needed to go grease some wheels. And because of how you showed up, I remember taking time on a trip to help you, because that was my one of the day. And if you can have powerful conversations where you remember where you were when you had them, 365 times a year, everybody knows 100 people.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah, definitely.
36,500 people within an arm's reach.
And so your calendar, you've, like you said, you know where you are because you've got everything documented in your diary and you stick to it. So a lot of people don't do that, do they? It's sort of like making sure you've got those appointments booked in. You've got, your tasks that you have to do booked in that are the priorities, which a lot of people don't do. So, yeah. Okay.
Or they put it in there and it's a suggestion. My thing is, how do you make the pain of not doing something greater than the pain of doing it? And we were supposed to have a call yesterday. It didn't get in my schedule, and we figured out why. But the reality is I know this. If I follow my schedule, I win. Anytime I divert off of my schedule, I'm leaving it to chance on whether or not I'm going to succeed.
Definitely. Okay, so what do you find are the biggest challenges for real estate agents with your coaching? What do you find stops them moving forward?
They're not ready for me.
Mm.
Meaning most people come to me because they know I'm about to put my size 10 right where it needs to go. So the biggest challenge is if somebody's interested. Now, this happened a lot more in the beginning. If someone's interested, they won't last with me
No.
because everybody gets three strikes. First time you don't do something, strike one. Second time, strike two. The third time, strike three. And some people pay me up front for the year. Well, if you get three strikes, you've lost that money.
Mm.
So most people that come to me and then they don't succeed is because they truly haven't committed.
Mm.
Yet, just like you as real estate agents, I have enough filters in place where most people won't make it into my coaching schedule
Mm.
unless they made it through filters. So rather than have destructive abundance, I put in filters where people won't make it to actually listing with me
Mm.
unless they're truly committed.
Mm. So they're just, yeah, interested, not committed. Yeah, there's a
Yep.
difference, isn't there? Yeah.
And I don't try to save people.
Yes, yes. Okay, so when you started in EXP, or give us your journey into EXP and explain about your team of 1,000 agents that you've got and what that means.
Well, it depends on how far you want to go back. Yet I was traveling the country, North America. I had 600 flights in 3 years, and all of a sudden one day my wife called me. It's much more in depth than this, but she said, Henry needs deodorant. That's my oldest.
Mm.
It was at that moment I decided that's not a result that I wanted, and I needed to do something different. But
Mhm.
when I stepped down from my position and I opened my own coaching company, I was no longer welcome at my prior company. And what I find with a lot of agents is they're happy where they're at until they're not. I love my old company. Yet the reality was I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do, so I was no longer useful to them. Therefore, they kind of put me as an outcast. So I came to eXp because when my son was born, he had to have open heart surgery. And it was at that time I was selling real estate full time. And I realized if I can't show up, I don't make money. So it was in 2009 when I made the decision that at some point I'm going to have an income stream where if life punches me in the jaw, that I don't have to show up, meaning I can do work today that I'll get paid tomorrow on. And when eXp came in, I was like, oh my gosh, if this thing works, it could completely change my life. Now, again, my results aren't typical because I'm better looking than most and smarter than most. Yet on 3 to 5 hours a week, I created an income stream that's done. Actually, I should check to see if we've crossed the $3 million mark. We're real close to that, and that's since 2016. So and this is off 3 to 5 hours a week.
That's
So my
amazing.
journey was this: 19 months. I had a friend call and say, Hank, I'm interested in eXp. I said, don't come. She's like, why? I go, you're a single mom. We're not in your market yet, and I don't want to put you in harm's way. She goes, I'm a big girl. I'm coming over.
Mhm.
So she came. She closed 2 deals in her first 2 weeks. She closed 8 deals the next month, and then 42 deals between her and a couple others that came over. So it went 400, 800, $3,200. And I was like, this math works.
Mm.
June of 2017 until January 1st, I helped 95 agents join our company. And this is the God's honest truth, Lisa. For 6 months, I worked my butt off.
Mm.
I I waved the flag, I sang from the mountaintops, and those 95 agents of helping them get what they want turned into agents in Australia. We've
Mm.
had over a couple thousand agents join us. We're currently at 988.
Mm.
And yet it was from a 6 month sprint because I got intentional and
Mm.
I helped some people come over.
That's amazing, isn't it? And the lifestyle that you've created and the people that you've helped into EXP. There's so many success stories, isn't there? Just amazing.
It
Absolutely.
is, and you're one of them. And this is what it's tough to be a prophet in your own area code. Now think about this. If you guys knew my standards, me taking a Zoom call or a podcast at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night, it doesn't happen. Me getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning when we Zoom for all those months, once a
Thank
week.
you.
Lisa's talent, and she will care more about you than you probably do. And might not always like her. She may push your buttons. She may push you a little bit. You guys may need to agree to disagree. And here's what I know: if you partner with Lisa, she's going to go win. and she has been winning. I think I could be wrong. You have one of the biggest rev share lines in all of eXp in Australia.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We've got over half of the total country. So
You say that so humbly, and I'm going to say, you know what? If you're watching this and you have an opportunity, yeah, Lisa might annoy you at times, or she might piss you off, to say the least. However, if you lock arms with her, you're going to go win. So if you're watching this and you've been praying to God, here's your message. Go sign up with Lisa, because here's what I'm trying to get her to do. Go find 10 people that can get to 100 people. Meaning, stop worrying about the soldier on the ground, the average agent. And Lisa, you do such a great job helping agents sell homes. Yet I'm begging and pleading with you is go find 10 people that have influence and help them grow to 100 and start working on those generals. So if you're watching this and you're a person of influence, you're somebody who wins, Lisa will get to 1,000 people, and you could be one of the 10 that she helps get there. And your timing's now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, amazing. I love, just everything from the 5 years that I met you, just everything that you've helped me with, and just what we've created has just been amazing. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud that we've got
You should be.
country, and the agents that we've got, the lives that we've changed, just been amazing. So, all right. So what's the best advice that you can give real estate agents? What would be your best? I mean, you've given so many tips. What's the best thing? Anybody listening to this?
Go to work. Don't kid yourself on what you're actually doing. Real estate's simple. It's not easy. And do the math. You're smart enough to figure out a schedule and then follow the schedule. I mean, most people that I talk to that are having lots of success leaves clues. They're doing the work. Their calendar supports what their goals are. I can look at their bank statement, and their bank statement supports what they're doing. And the reality is most people, their activities are a better indication of what the results are going to be than what their goals are. And it's simple. It's not easy. Just get to work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to send you a little video on Dame Edna Everidge, because these are the glasses I said to you I couldn't find my normal black ones, and I had to wear these, and I feel like Dame Edna Everidge, and you didn't know who he was. So I'm going to send you a little clip after this as well. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. You are amazing.
My pleasure.
Okay. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a question about real estate, then please join the group on Facebook, also called Let's Talk About Real Estate. For those of you who are interested in eXp, please join us at 10 a.m. Brisbane time every Wednesday morning for eXp Explained. Thank you again for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and see you next week.